Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to this the newest episode of Partner First. Today we're joined by John Hart of Hudu. We're going to be making some magic with documentation. It was, as an amateur ex-magician, this makes me so happy. But if you haven't heard me talking about Hudu for the past several months at this point, where the hell have you been? Hudu is a documentation platform, one of the newer players, but they've been around for quite some time already. We just did a technical deficit. First two episodes of technical deficit had Hudu, installing it on DigitalOcean and using swap files with it. We had a guest on technical deficit yesterday with Kelvin. We had Luke Whitelock, who has a ton of PowerShell scripts we'll be talking about later on. But I wanted to bring Hudu themselves onto the show so they could introduce themselves and we could learn a little bit about what makes them awesome and how they're bringing that awesomeness to us. So without much further ado, join me in welcoming Mr. John Hart of Hudu. How you doing, John?
I'm doing great, Ray. Thank you for the opportunity of being on your show.
Absolutely. No, thank you for being on. We've been looking forward to this for quite some time. We were talking in the pre-show how I had been talking with Jacob. Actually, I've been emailing with Jacob back and forth for about a year now, just planning this out. And, so very excited to get this done. I know you guys are extremely busy putting out releases and, answering all the subscriber and prospect questions and active in the community. So I definitely appreciate you taking the time to jump on this and spend some time with us today.
No problem. Actually, it's our privilege to do it. We have been having a lot of fun with new releases, and working with the community. It's been exciting, actually. So
awesome. So John, why don't you tell us about yourself and your background in the industry and your role over at Hudu?
Sure. Well, currently I'm the CFO of Hudu, and my background is I'm a network engineer. Have been for 35 years or so. And I've also run an MSP for the last 30 plus years or so. So I have background in the MSP industry itself.
Awesome. And you serve as the CFO at Hudu, right?
I do, yes. Yeah.
As well as all the other hats.
As many other things, yeah. We all kind of do quite a few different things as far as sales and sales and marketing and support, whatever needs to be done. So.
Awesome. And with all the research I had done, I found out something new today I didn't know. Jacob's the one I've normally spoken to when I had questions on stuff. I did not realize Jacob was your son. This is a family business. I love that. I absolutely love that. I'm fortunate enough my wife is my CFO and my daughter works in the company and my cousins work with us too. So I definitely love that family aspect. And Hudu, like so many other tools out there, the better of the tools, I like to think, was born out of MSP, right? It was
absolutely.
We were talking about this. We see all these tools that it's funny for all the tools that vendors come out with on their own, the ones that get the best traction. And was talking with Darren over at IMI the other day, but even the bigger players, right? The ConnectWise, the Automates, right. They came out of MSP having a need. So why don't you tell us real quick? Give me the genesis of Hudu. How did that come to creation?
We were running an MSP. We needed documentation. We worked with a few of the bigger brands, and really just didn't feel like they were fitting what we needed. So we started to play around with what could we do, and there were certain things that we just needed to have happen. Security was one of them. We didn't feel comfortable with the security that we had in place for our existing platform. We also needed to work with, really the stack that we had, and we wanted to be able to automate that and automate the integration with some stacks that weren't readily available from some of the other vendors. So we started down that path and got Hudu. So that's basically how it happened.
And for the amount of features that's in the platform, it is mind-boggling to me how quickly the breadth of features and how quickly you guys come up with stuff that comes out. It feels like every time we're having a conversation of, oh, you guys should add this, you should add that. And my one support interaction was, can we do this? And it was like, the answer was, and I apologize if it was you, I don't remember who it was. But the answer was, well, try this first. And if you can't, we can look at implementing it. I love that answer.
Right.
I'm not saying we're going to do everything you ask, but we'll take a look. We'll see what's going on. Not a 12-year roadmap as we've seen with some of the other players. Speaking of roadmap, how long is Hudu in its public form? I know, when you develop stuff internally, that has its own lifespan, but how long has Hudu been in its public form serving the MSP market?
We started in January of 2020 and started selling, got our first actual paid customers in 2020 and, in January. And honestly, it's just been like it's been like a rocket since then. So, which has been really exciting. Lots of IT departments beyond MSPs have picked up Hudu. So it's been exciting.
That's crazy. 15 months for the breadth of features, and and you guys are doing it right. I mean, it's funny to say you guys have a documentation for your platform, being a documentation company, but that's something that's missing from a lot of companies, and honestly, especially the younger ones, right? I mean, 15 months is not a whole lot of time, but you guys have everything documented extremely well. So, my hat's off to you. You have so we're gonna, just as a matter of events here, this show is going to be recorded. It will be available immediately after we're done, live at YouTube and at Facebook. You'll be able to replay it right away in perpetuity. We're listening to the chat. If you have any questions, you have any comments, tell us about how you're using Hudu. Put it in the chat. We'll definitely address it live on the show. We will have a section for Q&A afterward, including some information about upcoming items for Hudu, which I'm very excited to talk about. But without much further ado, I think we can get your presentation up on the screen.
Okay, sounds great.
Go ahead and take it away, man.
Sounds good. Well, I'll just go over a few points with Hudu. As you mentioned, Hudu has a fairly large amount of features, so we'll just go through a few. So basically, Hudu is a purpose-built documentation and knowledge sharing solution, primarily for IT departments and for MSPs. Hudu has, we try to make it easy for your team to start to document your client environments. Once you've got a well-documented and accurate environment, you can onboard employees faster. You can go through and have more consistent delivery of solutions to your clients. And your technicians can refer to predefined processes, task lists, and also knowledge base articles. Was an important factor. Security is also a huge concern, and we built that into Hudu from the get-go. We have best-in-class security, encryption. We can force multi-factor authentication. We have single sign-on. We have the ability to lock down access to information based on time and also privilege throughout your own organization. And also every action in Hudu is logged and can be reported on. So it's very important to have that in place. So the idea behind Hudu is that we standardize a structured environment to store information about your client's IT departments and infrastructure. Having a structured solution gives your technicians the ability to easily place a consistent documentation and all the required information about your clients. Structure also makes retrieval of information easier. Hudu helps your technicians deliver consistent customer solutions with customizable processes. One of the things that we built into Hudu was a full process management solution, which allows you to easily standardize operating procedures and best practices throughout your MSP or your IT department. Processes are also integrated with all the other elements of your documentation in a consistent manner. So if you need a password, you need access to knowledge base articles, those are all available at your fingertips within the process management. In terms of security, we're no longer using sticky notes, paper notebooks, unencrypted
some of us documents. Not everybody.
Well, it's true. Yeah, absolutely. So all of the documentation in Hudu is fully secured. So the mission behind Hudu is really just to remove the chaos, and we're very community oriented, community based. So if you put a feature request on our feature request forum, our developers are looking at that every day. So we're using that to build our roadmap. We're truly going through the process and actually making things happen as quickly as we possibly can in a safe and secure manner. If anybody has any questions at the at the end of this, please reach out to me, and I'll be happy to answer your questions.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So yeah, and we have Michael O'Toole, frequent contributor on MSP Geek, saying you guys are so responsive to feedback. It's amazing to see, and I'll echo that. I love seeing. I love seeing vendors and service providers take part in the same communities that they serve. Right? It's not just about saying, here we have a product, pay us. It's also about listening to your partners and serving them. That's, I think, we're all supposed to be serving our partners, right? Yeah. So those of you, I'll put it out to the chat, anybody who's using Hudu presently, definitely want to hear your feedback. If you're doing anything creative with it, like Luke Whitelock is doing his there he is. There's Luke. It's absolutely awesome. If you're doing anything crazy creative with PowerShell scripts or anything else, leveraging the API, by all means, let us know in the chat. Michael says we need 2 or 3 more Jacobs. Is that on the roadmap? I know we were talking about roadmap earlier.
Yeah, absolutely. So we do have multiple developers right now, but definitely, one of the things that we're going to be looking at on the roadmap, which is on the roadmap, is a mobile app, and that mobile app is likely going to be developed by somebody we bring in. We just didn't want to come out with a mobile app that was half featured. So it's really important that we have anything that we do comes out and serves the purpose in a consistent manner.
And one of the things I love, when you give to the community gives back. Michael says he's done with 90% of a Swagger definition for the Hudu's API. So you don't even have to. You'll just be able to use it and extend it. And that's the part that makes me happy, right? That's the part that I love, that, it's not for good, bad, or otherwise. We were talking about this earlier. We have our ideas. Even when you're an MSP and you create your own tools and, you expand upon that, we have our ideas of what's important. And then the community responds and says, that's awesome, but this is what I need. But as long as you enable them to add to it, I think that's where the real magic, not to be punny, that's where the real magic comes in.
Yeah, and that's really, we try to build Hudu in an open structure, so that so it's structured in one respect, but you can modify the structure to meet your needs. And we've actually been amazed at what people have used it for. So, so we would be definitely interested in seeing what other people are using it for and how they use it, and and any kind of feedback they have, we're open to it.
So, and a perfect example of that, Michael's saying he's heard a lot of feedback that it takes too long to get a demo. Good problem to have, but something you might need to tackle. John has an answer to that now. We'll hold on to it. I don't want to jump the shark here. We'll tease a little bit. But yeah, as with every other request that I've seen presented to Hudu, they have an answer for it already, and I love that. Talk about recognizing a need and answering it as called upon. So I want to. You ran through the power presentation, and I appreciate that. We all hate long presentations. I want to address some of the things that are the reasons I love Hudu. Right? We all have our own things that attract us to something. And we're not going to name names, but I did come from a different well-known player. I was an early adopter, as as John and Jacob were, in the MSP, and we had our varying experiences, but that shine fell off for me when roadmap things weren't done, and new features that finally were released had different tiers and whatever. And it's not to harp on that one thing. There's plenty of other competitors out there too, that I've also chosen not to do business with. The reason I did choose Hudu, however, is you have a few things I really love. Right? Public roadmap. I mean, if I can talk to any vendor out there, it's please put a public roadmap. I don't know why you would not have a public roadmap. That's kind of crazy to me. But I get I get having a public roadmap is difficult, especially when you're a smaller company. You're coming out with new features so quickly; it becomes difficult to keep up. But I love this. We have 365 integration. Now you have Azure AD SSO integration because I'm using it today.
Correct.
You have some level of 365 integration, just not multi-tenanted at the moment. Although Luke has worked a good bit towards that as well. Yeah, Autotask integration, Avik integration, runbooks, Chrome browser extension. So I'm gonna take advantage, and since I have you here,
Mhm.
when are we going to see that Chrome browser extension? Because I know that's an often requested one.
It's at the top of the list, and some of these things are actually already done. We do have an Autotask integration right now. The Avik integration is in play. Ninja, we do have an integration in Datto RMM. So we have actually made progress on this. We probably haven't updated our stuff as well as we should have, but we have made some progress on all of these areas, and we're working in right now we're in the middle of doing 2 or 3 other integrations that will be coming out. We'll have a couple coming out in the next release, which is right around the corner. So we have a lot of exciting things that we will be bringing out. The multi-tenant 365 is something that should be coming out very quickly as well.
I love that. I absolutely love that. And then some of the other stuff I love, API, fully documented, not completely fully documented, but close enough, good enough. A good documented API with very easy to follow access with no. You guys aren't charging at all for API access, as far as I know, is correct?
No, not at all. No.
Yeah, and that's fantastic. You have a good amount of. Let's see here. We have a great amount of features, right? Um, and one of the things I love is it's extensible, but it's also malleable, right? It's you define it to however you want it to work, whether it's defining your assets or defining your levels or defining permissions. It has a great mixture of ease of use and extensive and malleability, which is one of the things I absolutely love. And then my favorite thing, which is probably not the highest thing on the list for anybody, but there's a good question, John. Does a Chrome extension is that going to include Chrome or Edge Chromium, Microsoft Edge?
I can't really answer the question. I don't know at this point. I think that would probably be something we would want to do, but I don't know. As far as the development team, we could ask them, and I could get back with you guys for sure.
Yeah, and we all know that Chrome extensions, you can load them into Chromium. They work. It's not officially supported, but it absolutely works.
Right.
But so the two things that are my top of my list is, and this is what's missing from the aforementioned player, self-hosted. Now, you guys had a cloud offering, but you were pushing out a cloud offering earlier. You've always had the self-hosted thing, and I love the fact that you can self-host if you want to, because again, the security concerns, right? The ability to be able to own your own data and have decisions on where it's stored and how you want to handle it and all that fun stuff. But you want to step beyond that, and as opposed to saying here's an installable, here's an ISO, you guys said here's a Docker image. And so while it's supposed to run on Linux, it can run nearly anywhere. I'm not going to say that I may have or have not loaded it on a ton of systems just to see, but it absolutely works. And that's one of the things I love about it. It's leveraging new technologies, right? So many people are just rehashing the existing stuff, just trying to iterate just the tiniest bit and call it a new feature. You guys are saying no, Docker, and in the cloud, AWS, you were talking about Kubernetes, and we'll talk about that now. Real purposeful use of newer technologies, leveraging them for your benefit and for the MSP's benefit. I think it's great. Self-hosted, runs in a Docker image, infinitely awesome to use. And then storage is using S3 compatible storage. You can use local, but use S3. Make your life easy. So speaking of cloud, demos are really hard to get. It's hard to sign up. I have to talk to somebody, blah, blah. What happened to the cloud offering? You have an answer to all of that. What is it?
So yeah, actually, we are going to be having first off, self signups on the website. So you're going to be able to go to our website and no longer sign up for a demo, but actually sign up for the live, getting a trial yourself, or signing up live. We are going to be bringing out a hosted version. That hosted version will be on AWS, and we'll be utilizing Kubernetes to give us some high availability, as well as spinning up Hudu instances much quicker. So that's all on the horizon, and that's actually within the next few weeks. So that you're going to be able to really see some things that that we haven't been able to do in the past. And we have recognized that getting a demo has been difficult. It's just really going through and having a small staff trying to get everybody done and up and running with the demo. So we are also going to be doing some webinars, trying to get more people into a specific demo. Instead of having to wait through an individual demo, you'll be able to come to a webinar and see that. So that's hopefully going to alleviate all the issues with being able to see things and get them done in a reasonable time. So,
and Michael's saying that's awesome news. Yeah. The Kubernetes cluster, is that going to be multi-region?
It is, yes. Yeah. Nice. Right now we're going to be in 3 regions. So we'll be in you'll be in Europe, we'll be in the United States, and we'll be in Asia as well. And then we may bring out a second US very quickly as well.
I love that. And that's, that's and I want to acknowledge this. We were talking pre-show. You guys came on my radar about a year ago in MSPs R Us and other places. And I've been watching, but with newer players, you never know how long they're going to last. So I watched tentatively, talked to Jacob a couple times, but didn't really, just watching from a distance. And to go from that to what we see here today is astounding. And then on top of that, besides all the stuff that you've done internally and you guys are using it for the MSP, you were talking about the company has only been, your first customer you guys signed on was 15 months ago. Mm-hmm. As far as a publicly available offering. And so to talk about features and roadmaps, I don't want to name names, but there's I don't want to name names, but there's basically, there's people that have 15-month roadmaps, for features, for stuff you guys already have. So I think that's awesome. I got to applaud you for the speed with which you guys have delivered features. So pricing for hosted, I see it's not on. I don't think it's on the page yet.
It will be very soon. We'll be updating that later, probably even possibly later today or tomorrow. So yeah,
so we just called him out on YouTube. So yeah. I apologize for that. And then Michael wants to know, are you going to be able to select your region on sign up?
Yes, you are.
I mean, they're making all the right decisions, guys. I don't know how to I don't know how to say any better. I wish I had something negative because I don't want to sound like a fanboy, but honestly, you guys are doing it right.
Well, the sign up was negative, yeah. So not being able to get demos. So
there you go. You basically have Luke to blame for me and our sign up. Yeah, I mean, and that's the thing too. You have a lot of community champions, right? You have you have Luke, you have Michael. Yeah, you have very vocal customer base, and I love it. Sean, nobody asked if so. That's Sean. That's my VP of Partner Development. Nobody asked Sean, but, and that's cool too, because I think that's a sign of you doing it right. When you're doing it right, you have people that are willing to jump in and extend it, right? Like one of my things that I love showing. Hold on here. Easier if I'm not the one having to multitask, but I gave Simon zero warning on this. But since we have Luke here in the chat, I'll go ahead and call Luke out here, show off his site, mspp.io, where he generously took Kelvin's IT glue scripts and converted them over to Hudu PowerShell scripts. And he's created a bunch of stuff on his own too. It's not just copying Kelvin stuff. He has original content too. But, now it's not even a question of can we do this? It's, how do I do this? You have other MSPs that are doing it for you, and sharing this publicly. So how awesome is that? I love that.
It's
Um,
incredible. Yeah.
Yeah, and I will be, Simon, if you can get the link to our technical deficit, I will. Those of you that needed a demo and couldn't get to one in time, I put up a video. I don't know how long ago I put up the video, but I put up a video on how to install Hudu. Not that you need a video to follow along. The documentation is very easy, but how to self-install on DigitalOcean if you choose to. So what do we have here? Alan saying, if you really want to see me fanboy, show up in a Star Wars outfit. I mean, you're not wrong. I'm just saying. But I don't have it near me. I was gonna take out my magic hat. I was gonna say for this show though, it's all about magic, not Star Wars.
I should have done that. Yeah.
Right. I mean,
yeah.
We had Greg Burke running around with the cape. I mean, we've seen the Owlie, right? We at the shows. When are you guys gonna walk around doing magic, dude?
I think that's gonna have to happen. I'm gonna get a big top hat for Jacob and see. I think he'd do it. Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. I would love to see that. I'll go ahead because I know Sean's waiting for this. I'll go ahead and give my little magic wand for I keep it for Tech Bar. So you have official magic on the podcast.
Yep.
Yeah, and thank you, Simon, for pointing out the link for the self-hosted one. It's on our YouTube, as with so much other stuff. So guys, you're in the chat. You have John. You have John of Hudu here. You have any questions? Do you have any? How are you guys using it, John? Do you know have you seen anything where partners come up with a use case for it that it was not something you were expecting? It was just out of the blue?
Well, actually, the industries that are using it maybe is the biggest unique thing. We're finding industries that we really invented it for the MSP market, and what we've found is we have people who have flower distributors using it. We have rental companies that are doing like property rentals using it. Wow. I guess because it can be defined in the structure can be changed to whatever you need it to be. We have people using it for all kinds of things that we hadn't ever anticipated.
That is pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
That is that's interesting. I wouldn't have thought of that, but yeah, I mean, that's the thing. I mean, when we used ConnectWise, we used it for a bunch of different things too. Mm-hmm. And we helped other people. We used ConnectWise like an ERP. We moved to Salesforce afterwards, but so if you guys want to do a Salesforce integration, great. Or Luke, just make it happen.
Yeah.
But it was one of those things where when you could start leveraging it for other stuff, I think that's great, because at the end of the day, it's we use it for inventory management, which I don't think Hudu was designed for inventory management, but it suits our purposes, and I will go ahead and bring up our episode 1 of installing Hudu, and actually episode 2 is also about Hudu, and episode 4 and 5 will also be about Hudu, so you get some free promotion there.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, the new editor. So I know Jacob's talked about the new editor coming out. You guys are using CK at the moment, which isn't great. It's not bad. It's just you have guys that are leveraging highly, I don't know, they're very specific needs,
right?
Especially like the HTML stripping. So do you know when you're coming out with the new editor?
Well, we're beta testing right now. So we are, and we're actually beta testing a couple of them just to see what is capable, what's out there and what would work the best. Definitely CK has had some issues for us, in the primarily being in lists and any kind of numbered list with any kind of graphic or anything that's added to it. It's really kind of painful. But we are in the middle of doing it right now. We should have I would say we probably have a decision and an integration within the next probably month or so.
Wow. And I'll put it out there, anybody in the chat. I mean, I'm sure you've all already said what editors you want, but if there's any editors that you think should be reviewed, bring it up now. They're reviewing editors.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we definitely, anybody that if you have some input on what you'd like to see, definitely. We've looked at quite a few at this point.
All right, so that's enough of us. Oh, hold on. A suggestion was made in MSP Geek. Gutenberg would be an interesting choice. Another one from Level 5, the WordPress one, which is Gutenberg, as far as I know. It works well. I mean, I have no horse in this game. Most of my stuff's going to come in from API anyway. But yeah, I mean, and I know Jacob's already heard the Gutenberg request. Anything that could point to a URL or a Word doc and import would be awesome. I'll second that. Although I've never seen a PDF or Word import that hasn't mangled formatting completely anyway. Yeah, Alan, we're talking about Gutenberg. I think Gutenberg's the current one. That's good. So we're doing a lot of talking. Jacob, I know John, you have a demo you want to show us. So
Sure.
You ready to do so?
Sure, absolutely. Awesome. Yep. So this is the newest version of, move this around here. Can you see my screen okay?
Yeah, it's good.
Okay, great. So this is the newest version of Hudu. It's came out about a week or so ago. So we've changed a few things up. We do have we've changed some titles and some other things. Most of that has again been based on customer feedback and people wanting to see some things a little different. Within Hudu, you can click on a specific client. All of your client information is stored in a structured manner, kind of like I said in the presentation. The information is able to be dynamically added to the thanks to Luke and some others using the magic dash, so things can actually be populated on the main part of Hudu. We can again, we're doing some structures within passwords. We're going to be able to store OTP information as well as go and look at pwned information if any passwords have been compromised on the web. As far as knowledge base, this is an area that we've put a lot of energy into to try to make sure the knowledge base is fully functional. People can actually see through the information. They can look through an index of what's here. And again, like we were mentioning, the editor will be changing here soon so that it can actually be a little more user friendly when we do anything. We do offer two different knowledge bases. One's a global knowledge base, which we just renamed at this point, just put it up here just as KB to make it a little easier. And then we also have a knowledge base that's specific to each client, so that you can go in and actually store information that was being used by everyone. That may be, say, 365. You can go in and create some knowledge bases for 365 for both your technicians, but also all of this information is shareable with your clients as well. So we can actually create a customizable share link and send that out to your customers, to your clients, and those could be done either via email, or you can actually share them through the customer portal as well. Or a lot of MSPs are using best practice and they're actually using it through their ticketing system, whatever PSA they might be using. And that way, so that can be shared, as well as passwords can also be shared to a client. So I can actually go in and grab a password, and any of the passwords can actually be shared. If the password does have an OTP, we can also share that as well. So I can actually go in and reveal the OTP. And if I wanted to share that with a client, I can actually go in and share that for a specific amount of time. So let's say 60 minutes, I can include the username, include the OTP, and I can also expire it after the first view. So that's a feature that anybody who's using it, it's one of our most people are very excited about that feature. And this is also, again, something you can send via email.
So I'm looking at some of the comments here, and this is whatchamacallit, Luke hit the nail on the head. It happens to me too. Oh crap, there was a new version a few days ago. The good side is updates are extremely easy to do. It's under 10 minutes to update everything, right? Docker compose down and pull and up, and you're good to go again. I've even considered automating it just in case. But the question is, how do we subscribe to find out about updates?
So
Because I've been in this position too.
right. So most of the updates are published on our Twitter account. That's something that you can definitely do. And if you have suggestions of where you'd like to see them, we can definitely do that.
Yeah, I mean, I'd love to,
Or
get
carrier
an RSS feed so we can feed the teams, and that, we can go that way. You know what I mean?
Sure.
But yeah, I know there's so many balls in the air that getting everything addressed. Communication sometimes falls by the wayside, but I've been on that too, where like that's one of the reasons I subscribed to the vendor Hudu channel on MSP Geek was because I was finding out about updates there. And
Right.
Luke would say, "Yeah, this API endpoint, they just updated it, and it's finally available for download, and blah blah." And I'm like, "Oh, there's an update," and I go update it real quick. Real quick, user 89 asks, "Are there any plans for a SolarWinds RMM integration?"
Yes, there are. We have been we have actually reached out to SolarWinds. We have spent some time with trying to get through there. There has been to be honest, a little backlash from the passportal thing. So they haven't been as some of the companies that own competitive products or semi-competitive products. They're not as easy to work with sometimes. So at that point, that's kind of where we're at with SolarWinds. But as soon as we can get through that negotiation, we're definitely open for doing any kind of integration. So
awesome. And we're working on our own integration just for those OITVOIP users. We're working on our own we're fleshing it out before we go harass the Hudu team. Actually, points to Michael for calling out the most obvious option. Just put that there's an update in the UI in the actual app. That sounds like the lowest barrier to entry, right? If you're logged in, you're using it, you'll see that it's there. And Wayne seconds that request. And please update the roadmap. Yeah. So So take these 15,000 things back. We expect them done within a month. That's provincial Hudu policy. No, but it's awesome feedback from everyone.
Yeah,
all right,
absolutely.
I'll let you continue.
So, is there a specific area you want to see that anybody wants to see?
Yeah, guys, is there anything you want to see that you haven't seen? As somebody with a giant ego and a branding whore, I love the fact that you can use custom CSS, and I can make this look the way I want it to look. I know it's a minor thing, I know it's a stupid thing, but brand cohesion matters to me. So bonus round would be integrate with the cloud radial KB system. That's an interesting one, right? Take the KBs out of here and throw it in the cloud radial or any other dashboarding system. That's cool.
Yeah, no, that's good.
Do you have any magic dashboards? Because that was one of the more recent releases, right? In the past, 2 months?
Yeah.
Do you have any magic dashboards enabled on this demo instance?
I don't believe so. Yeah, I don't believe we do, and we should have probably done that to show that off. But no, I don't believe we have any right now.
Yeah, Alan brings up something I've heard echoed a couple times in other communities. Torn on which would be better: password here and OTP elsewhere, OTP here, password elsewhere. Especially also like you have other password management tools. We use a different password management tool for non-platform things. Having it all integrated. Now, you talked about the Chrome extension coming out in short order. That would help as well. And of course, Michael has KBs via the API in 365. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to call out. We have some powerhouse users, some power users here of Hudu. If you guys want to show off something in your own platforms, go ahead and chime in, and I'll have Simon bring you on live. I know for a fact, I apologize because Luke's on vacation, so he joined us yesterday as a favor. He's not supposed to be working right now. But that's open call to anybody. If you have something you want to show off in your own platform, and you can do some, remember this is live, we can't edit it, but you want to show it off, absolutely, bring it on. Michael's using the API to pull his KBs into 365. Cloud Radial has some integration now where it can scrape your published ITG docs. It doesn't work on Hudu. But that sounds like a low barrier to entry to get it in, right? If you make it in a format that they can read. Luke Cannon, the moment he has a customer data in his dev instance. Yeah, I do too. I the ones I lit up for not customer data, but yeah, I do the same thing with my dev, so I can't show mine at the moment. How are existing? Alan's asking, how are existing templates for various types of info being stored?
Stored? You mean inside of assets? Is that what he's referring to?
Yeah, Alan, can you expand upon that? I'm not sure. And while we're waiting for Alan to elaborate, Golden Consulting says, "Have you talked about sharing item? You talked about sharing items. Can you export a full client runbook?"
Oh,
Actually,
sure.
yeah, that's a cool place to show, because that is,
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's one of the things I love also is, like, you weren't just focused on, or you guys, right, aren't just focused on the security, and that's the whole single tenant architecture and stuff, but you also fully acknowledge there may be a point where I just want to pull everything back out, right? I don't want it in Hudu. I want it elsewhere, whether for backup or for exit or whatever. I want it elsewhere, and you guys already accounted for that before I lit up my first instance.
Yeah, absolutely. So export was a big concern to us. We were working with a platform where we tried to do some exports, and we found that we couldn't export everything for our MSP, and so that became a really big factor in Hudu. So we do have the ability to do full exports. I don't know if is my screen displaying as well.
I see another test password.
Yeah, it looks like that's a. I think that's not an update.
Oh,
There. No.
No, I see another. Yeah. I should be able to bring it up on mine because that page doesn't have any actual customer data. Let's see here. I know it's an admin, right? It's admin.
Yes, admin and export.
Yeah. Actually, why don't I show that? Because I can show that safely on my page. So, this is, and yes, I said I'm a brand whore. I wasn't kidding. So, you have all these options here, but you have your integrations, you have importing and exporting data. This is what, Alan, what you were speaking of, right? Being able to export data out and choosing what the format is. It doesn't assume you're going to want this for a client. It doesn't assume you're going to want this for a CSV. You have these options. I mean, that's pretty fantastic. I can do that without showing client information. Obviously, we use it ourselves. So being able to do that, I think, is pretty awesome. And this is one of my favorite things: automatic export. I mean, just belt and suspenders, right? You're backing up your S3 bucket anyway. You have versioning. Just do automatic export anyway, just to have it. And I don't know whether it's I don't know any compliance regulations that wouldn't love that you guys are doing that. So that's fantastic. Alan said, "Oh well, first level 5 saying, well, API and me don't get along yet." Dude, MSPP.io. Just go look there and look at all the magic that Luke's done. Join the vendor channel and MSP Geek. It seems like almost all the conversation is, it's either A, why do you guys like Hudu, or, which is easy to answer, or B, how do we do this in the API, and somebody's answering. So we have here, Alan says, was mostly wondering about what assets look like. I dropped the ball on watching the existing videos or reading docs. Oh, okay. So yeah, I can actually show that, unless you want to, John, but
I can show. Yeah, sure. Absolutely.
Yeah. So you have your, sorry. So over here in assets, you have your asset types. Now they do have these, new asset layout, and they have pre-existing ones you can get to. So, you can go ahead and start from a template. You don't actually have to make it up on your own, which is really nice. That was one of my frustrations with the other documentation platform, is when we had these malleable asset types. I'm not going to say what it is. But, it was kind of just open season. It was a complete white canvas. You had to figure stuff out as you go. Here, they give you the ability to, they say, here's some templates, go ahead and do. And everything is, it's just a matter of adding a field and deciding what you want. You can make it required. You can make it show in the list if you want. You can make a copyable text, which is an odd choice in my opinion, because there's no text that's not copyable. It's just a matter of if you put the little icon there. So
yeah.
Yeah, whatever, it doesn't matter. Um, so you can rearrange the fields as you want, make them, and it does. You have nice tags here as well as to whether it's going to show in the lists or whatever else. Um, you can duplicate an asset layout as well. Um, Letting us share stuff. So that's the thing, right? So once you can create it, you want to be able to share it, right? Do you guys have that on the roadmap, being able to share asset layout templates?
Yes, it is. Yeah. Yeah, we'd
Oh,
actually
nice.
like to have a community environment where you could actually upload your any of your asset types, and then share them amongst all of the users. And that is definitely on the roadmap.
I love that. I absolutely love that. And yeah, Michael's saying the channel's basically, can I do this in the API? Followed by Luke having coded it before you got your editor open. One of my favorite sayings from Oppenheimer: genius sees the answer before the question. Surround yourself with brilliant people, and they'll have the answers for you every time. But yeah, Michael says letting us share our stuff will be great. And while I can't share this, I can't actually. Okay, this is one of the things I think was fixed in a new update. Pardon me for not having updated, but the not having the ability to go from here back to the assets page kind of drives me bonkers. But I think that was either going to be addressed or was addressed later. Um, so yeah, John, is there anything I'm missing here that, or Alan, you haven't seen anything you want to see in the platform since we have it up?
So we do also, of course, within the exports, I think that one of the questions was the PDF run book. We call it a PDF handoff, so that's the top one. We can fully export all of everything we have in CSV export, and then of course you touched on the fact that you can do automatic update or exports as well to any S3 compatible. We have
I love the documentation. This
yeah.
this makes me so happy. I love that you guys, there's some gotchas. Make sure you see this. Make sure you see that. I love that. That's fantastic.
Yeah, we're obviously trying to make it easy.
Yeah. Alan says copyable text sounds like make it easy for me to copy the field's contents because I'll do it regularly. It literally just makes a little copy button next to the text, and so you can click the copy button to load into your clipboard. It's just making it easier. Are item expirations automatically updated? I'm not sure what he means by item expiration. I know you do the website.
So it depends on how those expirations got there. So if the expirations are getting there from like a PowerShell that's going out looking at them, then as the PowerShells run, then yes, those would update the expirations. If you're talking about like a warranty type item, you could go there and you can manually update the date, and then of course the expiration would update as well. Or if it's coming in from an RMM tool, or a PSA tool that's got some sort of expiration, say ConnectWise configuration. If that's been updated, then it will get updated in Hudu as well. So it really depends on how it gets there. If the item was there and there's no way to update it, then no. Things like website expirations, those are automatically updated. So if your website is going to expire on a certain date, and then you update the information at your registrar, then that will automatically flow into Hudu and at the next check, basically. And then at that point, those would all be updated automatically.
And there's stuff like Luke he took Kelvin's script for warranty, checking warranty on devices. I mean, you can easily run that in Azure Function or run it on schedule to push over to Hudu. And that's pretty awesome. Any plans for tokens and KBs with follow-up of we have the same document for most clients that have one or two fields of client data in them?
So yes and no. And in fact, Hudu actually had tokens built into the KBs originally. And that became really issue more of the text editor than anything else. So again, as we move away from the current text editor, then we are going to be able to we're hopefully going to be able to add more things back in, such as tokens and variables.
That makes a lot of sense. That absolutely. Let's see here. And I know some progress has been made on this. I think two or three versions behind, but some progress was made on multi-item management or bulk management on like moving items into folders and that kind of thing. That
Yes,
was
yeah.
that
So
has been done, or is on
no,
the plan?
it's actually going to be done in an upcoming release. And we also have done things like KB articles. We now have the ability to set an expiration for KB articles as well. So if you have
Nice.
some sort of if you have a knowledge base article that needs to be updated on a regular basis, or if the data is just going to go out of date at a certain point, you can actually set an expiration on a KB article.
Very nice. Do you have as far as customer portal? I know you guys do customer portal.
We do. Mhm.
Do you have anything you can show us on that? And that's something I didn't set up because we didn't need to.
Sure. I don't know if I can share. If for some reason the sharing is an old screen, so it's not actually sharing my live screen.
If you want, stop your screen share and
Okay.
then start it again.
Okay.
Maybe that'll refresh it. I'm happy that the focus is on stability over keeping broken features, so you can say you have them. That's one of the awesome things too, right? Like when you stop doing the, I don't want to keep saying stop offering cloud hosted, because you didn't. You stopped pushing cloud hosted because you stopped and said, we want to do this right, so we're going to scale the right way, not scale, nuts, and have a bunch of broken things. I appreciate that. I absolutely do.
Yep.
We have Azure Azure AD SSO for customer portals, please. I'm sure that's already on your guys' radar. I can imagine that.
Yeah, it is. Absolutely. Okay. Looks like I'm back in business here.
You're good. Yep.
So yeah, so we were talking about customer portal. We call it the share portal now, and within the share portal, you can customize what assets you share. So in this case, we can actually go in and if you want to share assets with your clients, but you don't necessarily want to share everything, you can actually go in and pick and choose what you share. Same thing true of shared passwords, shared websites, links. You also have the ability to pick and choose knowledge base articles that you might want to share. You can actually share an entire folder out. This has actually become something of that a lot of our MSP clients are using right now. They'll go in and they'll create a how-tos, either how-to videos, how-to documents for knowledge base, and then they'll share out an entire folder to their clients. And we actually have a couple of MSPs that are sharing out the client's company manuals. So that it becomes a single point of interfacing with their actual employees. So from within here, you can actually click on a shared item, decide which asset you want to share. So in these cases, we're able to share contacts or computer assets, whatever they'd like. As far as editing the portal or viewing the portal, you can edit it. It can be customized, branded with your information, or you can we have a lot of users who co-brand it with their clients. So it's XYZ company by OITVOIP type of scenario, and it becomes something that's really sticky. It looks nice and it's easy for them to interact with. We can view the portal. This would be the shared portal here. So in this case, we would get the logo that's associated with it. That can be either the company's logo or it can be the MSP's logo. And again, we get kind of a general idea of what everything looks like. We've shared out these assets, and we've shared out these knowledge base articles.
I see some questions here.
Mm-hmm.
Can the picking be? That's interesting. Can the picking be rule based? E.g., share all computer assets.
Not currently.
Yeah, it would be a nice feature, though. It would be interesting. And then Alan, actually, in similar vein, looking at handoffs as a way to do non-sensitive exports. I know you can pick what types of assets you're exporting, but the ones that have confidential fields. I mean, I guess you're going to have. It's going to be the asset. Well, the asset type's going to have questions, and some of the questions are going to be confidential field. So, can you say export everything but the confidential fields on those assets?
I do not believe so at this point. I think if you select the asset itself, it's going to export the entire asset out of the system.
Yeah.
But that's
I mean,
a
you could
great.
do it as a CSV and then scrape it before you give it to
You
them.
could, yeah, absolutely. But that would actually be a great
Yeah.
addition to be able to go in and say, don't include any passwords. There is a section to exclude passwords. So if the confidential information was just passwords, then yes, that would get taken out. But as far as we don't have a way to, at this point, mark a independent field as, say, sensitive, and then say in the PDF handoff to say, don't include sensitive information.
Okay. Yeah, but yeah, I mean, and I'm sure this is where, and Alan actually said it. Insurance companies, I think we all see MSP regulation without a question is coming. And those of us that are in compliance arenas, right? Your NIST or your CMMC or any time you have a third party, that was my MSP's background. Anybody that was regulated, right? FINRA, FERPA, FDA, SOX, where we had to be accountable to somebody else. So those audits matter. So yeah, that would be a pretty awesome feature. Good going, Alan. So whatchamacallit. So we're at the top of the hour, so I want to be respectful of your time. I want you to get back to doing all that awesome work you've been doing. Is there anything else you want to show us real quick before we wrap up, John?
Well, yeah, absolutely. One area that I think I mentioned at the beginning here is that we do look at is if you click on your profile and you go down to request a feature, we absolutely are in this feature request constantly. So if you can go into that and send us your feature request, we're looking at it. We're gonna make them happen if we can.
Awesome. Yeah, I mean, so guys, all these comments, are in the video, so you can go back and resubmit every single one of them, and I'll apologize to the Hudu team in advance. So, anyway, John, thank you so much. I appreciate you taking the time to talk with us. I know you guys are extremely time constrained, and you're putting out all these awesome features and answering all our support questions. So I definitely appreciate you taking the time to talk through this with us today. Your contact information is below, right? If you want to reach out to John at hudu.com. They're extremely responsive. It's been nothing but a pleasure, nothing short of a pleasure working with them. So I definitely invite you to do the same, and see what the magic is all about. John, any parting words before I let you go?
Just thank you for the opportunity to present Hudu, and I look forward to any questions, and thank you very much.
And it seems you have the Anthony, nothing's stopping you, man. Go for it. It seems you have the adoration of the chat too. Thank you for an awesome product, John.
Yep.
Awesome. Luke. There you go. So with that, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for being part of this Partner First. We do this for you guys. We do have several upcoming events. This week was kind of crazy, but we have even more to come. On April 8th, we have Tech Bar with Matt Solomon of ID Agent. And again, MVP Growth Fest, April 20th, free to all MSPs. If you register under our link, which Simon is going to rush to go put the link up there you go. If you register under our link and you're the first 250 registrants, you'll be in a drawing to ask Wayne Gretzky a question live, which I think is pretty awesome. Even if you're not a hockey fan, it doesn't matter. The dude is a great one. Get your questions in. April 13th, Ultimate Customer Retention Blueprint for MSPs with ID Agent and OIT. April 20th, we talked about MVP Growth Fest 2021, sponsored by OITVOIP. $15,000 in giveaways. Every penny going to MVP Growth Fest is going right back to the MSPs. It is pretty awesome. April 22nd, Tech Bar Podcast, Eric Smith, my boy Eric over at Geekbox. April 29th, Partner First, Fueling Profit through Cybersecurity with ID Agents. That sounds like a Sean webinar. But I see a lot of ID Agents. I love that. They're an awesome partner. So, and also, guys, if you want content, you want us to talk about stuff for you guys, bring it up. Email us over at events@oit.co. Hit us up on Twitter. Hit us up on LinkedIn. You know how to find me on the in the community groups. But these Partner First are done for you. So if there's a vendor you want us to talk to, if there's some subject matter you want us to go over, or if it's for one of the other shows, Technical Deficit, where we're solving technical challenges with our friends, good, bad, and otherwise. We keep it all in there. Thanks to Luke again for being on yesterday, and he'll be on a future one. And we're going to have Matthew Fox of Valiant Technology doing another Technical Deficit, or the Tech Bar. You want to have some fun with us, kick back. It is the after show for every conference every other Thursday here on YouTube. And I'll apologize in advance. Click that like and subscribe. And don't forget the notification icon, because we put out stuff on a regular basis just for you guys. So once again, thank you. We appreciate you. And until the next one, have an awesome day, guys.